Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. My name is Bobby and today I want to talk about Wizards of Legends. I'm going to give you my first impressions, thoughts, and review of my first 2 hours of playing this game. Now, all the gameplay that you're going to be seeing today is taken straight from my Twitch live stream where I checked it out, hanging out with some fans. So please, link down below to my Twitch channel if you want to watch me play this game and many other games, and also down below is the link to the first episode of my Let's Play. If I decide to play more, there will be multiple parts. So let's freaking get started. Now, to give you a brief overview of what Wizard of Legend is pretty much about, it is a top-down fast action roguelite game mixed in a huge story of, well, I say huge story, but it has a good amount of lore, and we're gonna go ahead and get into that right now. So I have a bunch of notes right here. I'm really excited to talk about this game, and let's get started. Overall, after this video, I hope to give you a really good idea of how this game, plays, and if you want to check this out for yourself. So as soon as you start a new save file, it throws you right into this museum that seems like it is modern times. You run around this museum and learn about all the lore. Now, I was kind of confused where this game actually took place. It seemed like all the characters around you who were actually in also wizard type of robes seemed to be some sort of cosplayers, people really admiring and dressing up as these wizards who are long gone and throughout the museum. And this is totally skippable, by the way. I pressed start and I saw the skip area button if you want to skip the lore and tutorial, but I highly recommend that if the first time you play, you check it out, because it teaches you how to use some of your spells, the basic mechanics such as dashing and moving different spells, and the enhanced system. It also gives you a lot of the lore, like why are these wizards going through this trial and the different types of main bosses. It has a lot of cool stuff. I think it's actually really clever how they did this. So it kind of kept me going, like, oh, I really want to talk to every single NPC here. I want to explore as much as I can, and the lore is actually pretty awesome. So story so far, pretty good. Next up, I'm going to talk about the gameplay. Now, this is going to be a really hefty section because this is most of the game and is the best part of the game in my opinion. So just to really gush about this, I love the combat. It is extremely fluid. It is semi-bullet hell. Okay, so to put it much simply, what you're gonna be doing most of the time is you're gonna be going through these trials, getting upgrades, permanent upgrades, learning enemy patterns, dying, and then redoing it all again. Think, games like Risk of Rain, Binding of Isaac, Dun Greed, a lot of those things where it's a lot of trial and error. You learn as you go, and a huge amount of replayability here. So, like I said, I've only played for the first 2 hours, so it is not a complete overview. This is just my first impressions. And so far, I think there's around 4 bosses. I have not yet defeated all of them. Throughout my first Let's Play video, I defeated one boss and got to like the second sort of dungeon. There are like 3 different types of dungeons that are randomized each time. There is a fire one, a water one, and I think there was, what was the other one? A grass dungeon, I think. And then every time you start, it reorganizes the dungeon, different rooms, etc. And there's different elements like that. So like I said, it is roguelites. There's tons of different enemies and a lot of RNG, but it's mostly your skill. There are some persistent elements, you will be going in and dying a lot, but like I said, persistent elements throughout the game. When you defeat enemies and the farther you go down along, you were to get 2 different types of currency. One is a crystal currency, which you get throughout the game and you keep no matter what, even after you die, so you can save up as much as you want. And the second currency is going to be gold, which is for the current run that you are on, because when you are on the run and you are going through the dungeon floors, there's different sorts of interactables you can use your gold with. There's sort of gambling stuff. There's shops where you can buy potions and even more relics and upgrades. But I want to talk about the crystals and what you do in town. There's two major portions in your persistent area before you head into the randomized dungeon. There is your house where you can look in your grimoire and all of your unlocked spells that you get with the white crystals. You can choose any of those 4 starting ones at the beginning and take them with you. There is usually 4 different types. There's a standard attack, which is like your basic melee, and sometimes it switches around to other things. There's a dash where you can get different types of dashes. There is a standard attack, which is more powerful, and then you have like your signature move. Every single one of those 4 spells has an enhanced version that you can unlock during the game, and it's really amazing because you can, like I said, you can switch them out as you please as soon as you unlock them. Now, you might get some different spells throughout the dungeon run, like maybe you get them from a boss, or you get them through gambling and or buying them. You can have up to 6 spells in your arsenal. I'm using the Xbox One control playing on PC Steam, and what would happen is everything is mapped to my face buttons, and then your extra 5th and 6th spells, they go to your L1 and R1, or bumpers, or whatever you want to call them. And then, you know, once you get them, they're not unlocked. You have to buy them with crystals. That's the only way to get permanent stuff, is with crystals. You can also buy relics, which is really awesome. There's 3 different types of relics: offensive, defensive, and miscellaneous, which gives you random effects. For instance, one of the offensive ones, I believe it was, has a little bit of an ice wisp that follows you. They give it to you in the tutorial, and pretty much it's on a small little cooldown timer. If you're near an enemy, it freezes it and does a little bit of damage. So you get to pick 1 relic to bring with you every single run, but throughout your dungeon run, like I said, just as you're able to bring in a 5th and 6th spell, swap them out accordingly. You're able to grab as many relics as you can, and they stack. So if you really like the Binding of Isaac, but you want more of a fast-paced combat instead of mostly, you know, shooting tiers and stuff, this is right up your alley. It's really good. And yeah, relic stack. Things can get crazy. So like I said, there are spells that you get, and also in your main town you have a little area to change your cloak. Now, there was a giant radio wheel, and there's 2 cloaks unlocked at the beginning. There's a red one and a blue one. You could buy more in town. They are pretty expensive, at least from what I've seen, and I don't know what they do yet. You know, once I switch between red and blue, it seemed like mostly just changed the color. I really hope it does give you some upgrades later, but as of right now, I'm not too sure. So when you enter the dungeon, there's lots of different randomized rooms, and the enemies are really fun to beat down. There's traps that you have to deal with. You have to run around, and it tells you, there's a nice little mini map that tells you how many enemies are left on the floor and how much of the map you have completed with the percentage. As soon as you get to the end, you know, you have the option to start the boss fight, because there is a mini boss at the end of every floor, and then one of the main bosses at the end of the specific elemental dungeon. What's really cool is, you know, right before you go to the mini boss, you have the option to continue looking around the map if you want, and there's little teleports at the area to get to the boss. There's 3 different colored teleporters like portal, and you jump in and it takes you to all the different 3 main areas of the dungeon. So you can go to the shop really quick, you can go to the gambling area really quick and come right back. Really nice of quality, you know, really nice quality of life thing they got going on there. So very cool. Bosses are pretty tough. The mini bosses are not too bad. I don't think I had any trouble with them. The only thing that is terrible is, I say terrible, I mean like hard, are the main bosses. I've only defeated 1 and I got wrecked by the other one, but they are really a challenge, and they weren't kidding. Like, they have over 100 type of spells that you can get, mix and match, and enhance them. So pretty much think about those, but double, if you want to say that, double, like, okay, how about 2.5 different types of spells? Yeah, that's pretty sick. There is a stun mechanic in the game for enemies. So if an enemy ever has, like, or especially this works on bosses, you want to dodge most of the time and attack where you can. But however, there are certain windows of opportunity where you can cast a really powerful spell, or do a lot of combos on one boss to stun him, and then that's your chance to get a lot of damage in. A lot of the regular enemies can also be stunned, and there's lots of different effects I have not even seen yet. I've unlocked some of the different types of spells, such as freeze. And there was one that makes me like crazy jump in the air, throw fireballs, dragon waves, vines in the ground. And I think the most unique one that I've seen so far, and I'm not even close to unlocking a lot of them. I gotta play a lot more. So yeah, there's also one that makes it so enemies fight for you. It's a charm spell, that type of thing. It's really fun to try out every spell because you don't run on mana. You are a wizard, but you don't really run on mana. It's cooldowns for the most part, and I'm pretty sure there's like a relic or something you can do to lower cooldowns or something. Some spells do have charges. For instance, one of the starting spells you have is called like I don't know what it's called, but you throw out like different dragon charges and flames. I think it's around 6 charges, and then if you stop during the 3rd charge, it goes back up to 4, 5, and 6. There was a relic I got at the beginning that allowed me to increase the amount of charges on that spell. So there's lots of different combos that it's really fun to put them together. Let me give an example of a combo that I had that was pretty cool. I bought an ice spell that throws out shards of ice that pushes an enemy out and then pulls them back in, doing damage at the same time. I also had another spell on me that jumps me in the air and goes straight down and does really good splash damage. So what I would do is I would throw in ice, wait for them to come back, and jump right back down, and then do all your other spells. So you really have to keep it on your cooldowns, dodge, and it's just really fun. Like, I can't recommend this game enough. It is really amazing. So enough of the gameplay. Let's talk about the graphics. It's a very indie game feel. Pixel graphics. This one is done really well though. Usually, or recently I should say, I've been kind of getting tired of the pixel type of style. A lot of indie games tend to do this because it's easier to it's easier to do these pixel sprites than fully hand-drawn animated models and stuff. But however, this one's done right. If done wrong, like for instance, I don't want to hate on it or anything like that, but Risk of Rain, a lot of people really like to praise that game a lot. Oh man, I really could not get past like the graphics. It's not that it's bad, it's just like it was really just hard to tell what the heck was happening. Your character was like this big, you know what I mean? And in this day and age, you really shouldn't care about graphics, but if it overall takes you out of the game, if you're focused more on that than the gameplay, well, that's just my opinion. But yeah, this one is done really well. I like this a lot. But yeah, the animation is so freaking smooth. Let's move on to the audio. Nothing crazy stood out to me. It was very standard music and sound effects. There might have been some sort of crazy hit music in there that I missed, but I was too engrossed with the combat system because it's very action-packed. Like, I do not see myself at all playing this with a keyboard and mouse. It is freaking made for a controller here, and I think the game is out on Switch. I'm not too sure. I mean, I barely played it on release day. I did not do any research because I saw it on the front page of Steam and it looked amazing, so I decided to check it out, and did not disappoint at all. Did not disappoint. So let me give you my final ending comments here. So far, like I said, I played about 1 to 2 hours on release date. Pretty much no bugs, at least none that I can remember. Yeah, no bugs. The only thing that sucks is co-op is local only. As of right now, I don't know if there's any plans to change that. I think this was a kickstarted game, but I highly recommend it. And it has a, there's a lot of games of this genre coming out. I mean, I think one of the recent games that we checked out was Dun Greed, which is also kind of the same thing, except it's side scroller, not top down. And yeah, this has a lot of replayability. I cannot wait to get a couple of more stream sessions in. I will most likely do a final review after 6+ hours if I ever play that much, which I probably will, I'm not gonna lie. So like I said, all the gameplay is taken from my live stream, so please check out the video down below. If you want to catch us when we're live, also link down below. This was my first impressions, thoughts, and reviews of the first couple of hours of Wizard of Legend. Let me know what you guys think below. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.